Throughout the 60s and 70s, televisions were dominated by one unstoppable force of an actor, Bill Bixby. His talents were out of this world, spanning TV, theater, and film, as some of the most endearing and enduring characters on air.
Dr. David Banner, physician, scientist, searching for a way to tap into the hidden strengths that all humans have.
But was he the wholesome hero who charmed us all? And how did TV reshape his personal life forever?
Never mind. I'll find out for myself.
Welcome, I am your host, Nostalgic Nick, here to conjure up some pleasantly surprising answers as we shed light on the nature of his relationship with Lou Ferrigno and much more. If you enjoyed today's tribute, please give it a thumbs up to help it circulate, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss one of our deep dives. But now, without further ado, come on and let's visit Eddie's father.
Hey, mister, you're gonna be 10 minutes late, so just keep your shirt on.
Was Bill Bixby a real magician? For 21 episodes, Tony Blake cast a spell on audiences, coming up with just the right mental trick, escape, or sleight of hand to solve just about any crime. But did you know Bixby was an amateur magician? In fact, he insisted that any tricks performed by his character, Bixby could do himself. So he did, without any camera tricks. That's why each episode gets that special announcement, where we're about to see the real deal, no trick photography.
All of the magic you're about to see is performed without trick photography of any kind by Bill Bixby, the magician.
Although this wasn't possible for the pilot, but after that, that's all Bixby. But sometimes even Bill needed help, and so professional magician Mark Wilson was brought on, with the absolutely amazing title of Magic Consultant to train Bixby in the mystical arts. Eagle-eyed fans can even spot Bixby's mentor once the show moves to a magic club. Just keep an eye on the stage. But the magician would also keep influencing Bixby too. He took what he learned from the show and Mark Wilson and hosted a bunch of specials on NBC and a show called The Wonderful World of Magic. Did any of you get into card tricks because of this guy? Let us know in the comments. Did Bill Bixby play the Hulk? Bixby was simultaneously an obvious choice and an unconventional one for any big film or TV show. He studied acting in college and even took classes to perfect his verbal delivery, but he also left college a few credits shy of a full degree. Even so, he wanted to be an actor and moved to Hollywood. But as we know, it's hard to become an actor, just ask me. And he ended up taking jobs as a bellhop and a lifeguard. His path was a bit all over the place to start, and that's not even counting his time in the Marine Corps. But eventually, he landed a modeling gig that had him doing commercials for Chrysler and General Motors. Over the years, Bixby more than proved himself, and most importantly, his acting range, showing his capacity for humor, vulnerability, strength, and love. So when it came time to cast the Incredible Hulk, director Kenneth Johnson actually had his mind pretty made up. The role was to go to Bill Bixby. One problem though, when he first offered the part, Bixby declined. He wasn't thrilled with the idea of playing a character from a comic book. Yeah, I know, that's why I turned down Spider-Man.
Oh, please. You couldn't even change into Bill Bixby.
That concern Johnson himself had harbored too. But luckily, Bixby did a 180 on his opinion once he read the script and had a one-on-one chat with Johnson. And Johnson's choice in Banner was reaffirmed when he first saw Bixby in pre-transformation makeup. Johnson remembers saying, quote, "Holy shit, this show is a hit." Since special effects weren't what they are now, for better or for worse, they needed someone else to play the big guy. And Bixby nearly ended up working opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger. But the Governator was rejected because of his inadequate height. Of course, that paved the way for Lou Ferrigno and the start of a very eventful relationship. Were Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno friends? Bixby and Ferrigno effectively playing the same character could have been a perfect storm for tension, but for this iconic pair, it was the opposite, and it perfectly showed Bixby's true colors, not just as an actor, but as a human being.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
They played one person, but were just about never seen on the screen together. But Ferrigno considered Bixby to be something of a hero. Bill was something 20 years Lou's senior, and Ferrigno would call Bixby a mentor and a father figure who took him under his wing. But above all, he would call Bixby a friend. But this wasn't the last time Bixby would have to work closely with a younger actor, vying for the spotlight. The courtship of Eddie's father was a unique family tale revolving around Bixby's Tom Corbett and young Eddie, played by Brandon Cruz. Bixby wanted to make it very clear to viewers, quote, "I will be playing Bill Bixby, me, Bill Bixby, for the first time in my life." A lot of courtship channels some of the dynamics shown in The Andy Griffith Show, which Bixby actually appeared on back in 1962. But for Bixby, the father-son relationship was at the heart of courtship, with him saying, quote, "The show concerns the relationship between a widowed father and his son, the real things that happen in life, the humorous little incidents that in retrospect are momentous. This is about love." Brandon said about his co-star, quote, "Bill Bixby was like my second father, and when Brandon became a dad of his own, he gave his son the middle name Bixby." And 4 decades after the show ended, Brandon was the loudest voice, calling for Bixby to be given a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Who is Bill Bixby married to? Bill Bixby fell in love with the idea of having a family. He shared, quote, "Doing the show has made me want to have a child of my own. Of course, it's easier for me than for a parent who lives with children 24 hours a day."
And listen, you might find a girl in Dayton.
Oh, that'd be lovely. I wish I had the time to look.
And 2 years into the show, he got his wish, as Bixby married Brenda Bonet, an actor with a career a bit like him, that included This and That, TV series, as well as some Elvis projects. The same year they married, she added the courtship of Eddie's father to her resume. The power couple must have felt like they were living in a fairy tale, especially after the birth of their son Christopher. Finally, Bixby had everything he wanted. But then, tragedy fell very, very hard on the happy family. First, Bixby and Brenda got divorced. Then in March of '81, young Christopher was with Brenda for a skiing vacation at Mammoth Lakes, when at some point he began suffering acute epiglottis. Basically, a part of his tongue began to swell, closing off the throat. Doctors inserted a breathing tube for him, and after that is when little Christopher went into cardiac arrest. Their little boy died at just the age of 6, and if things couldn't get worse, less than a year later, Brenda took her own life. It's heartbreaking, it truly is. And Bill's heart was broken. He did eventually remarry, first Laura Michaels and then Judith Kilbin, but he would never again have children, his heart's biggest desire. What did Bill Bixby die of? Most actors have 1, maybe 2 famous titles to their name. Bill Bixby had 4. The guy was a train that could not lose momentum. So of course, even after Hulk wrapped up, Bixby kept himself busy, mostly with directing Blossom. But as time went on, Bixby's health began to fail. By 1991, Bixby was formally diagnosed with prostate cancer and started undergoing treatment. While others might understandably keep that news quiet, 2 years into his treatment, Bixby decided to talk about his experiences on shows like Good Morning America, Entertainment Tonight, and Today. So this approach put everything back on his own terms. Plus, it helped put a face to cancer battles, and it might lend strength to others.
I have a tendency to push the envelope. If I feel good that day, I go. Yes!
He used an experimental hormone treatment program from the University of California, and he wanted people to know. But then his condition backtracked big time, now deemed untreatable. And Bill Bixby marched on as long as he could, of course still working all the while. The man collapsed on the set of Blossom, his final assignment. And on November 21st, 1993, the great Bill Bixby died at the age of 59. His wife and a longtime friend of his by his side when he passed. Within each of us, oftentimes, there dwells a mighty and raging fury. So goes the start of The Incredible Hulk, one gigantic part of Bill Bixby's incredible legacy.
You are ugly when you're angry.
He was the tormented scientist. He was the beloved father. And through it all, he was a star who wanted his show to tell people that family members could communicate, that real bonds of trust could be cultivated and flourish. And he did that, leading by example and becoming a dad to countless people. Bill sure made an impact on so many of us. So what was your favorite Bill Bixby project? Did you watch The Magician? Or were you a fan of The Hulk or Courtship of Eddie's Father? Please get in the comments and tell us all your memories of Bill Bixby. If you enjoyed today's tribute, please give a huge Hulk smash to that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new deep dive. And from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you very much for watching.